A presentation from Lake County Watershed Protection District Water Resources staff on the 2025 Clear Lake Hitch Community Science Spawner Observation Program Summary and Outcomes. Water Resources Director Pawan Upadhyay and Chris Childress. Did I pronounce it right? Childress, sorry.
And Taylor Woodruff.
What's that?
And Taylor Woodruff.
Oh yeah, and Taylor. Sorry about that. Yeah, any seat. Postponing these two.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Pawan Upadhyay, Lake County Water Resources Director, and I have here with me
Chris Childers, Lake County Water Resources Department Program Coordinator.
and we also have
Taylor Woodruff. I don't know if this is on. But
He wants it real close to, yeah. You can pull it, yeah, towards you. There you go. There you go.
Taylor Woodruff, Water Resources Protection District, Water Resources Department, Watershed Protection District, technician for the Lake County Clear Lake Hitch program.
Okay, so I will read the executive summary. I will keep it brief because I know we are running a little behind. So, as your board is aware that the Clear Lake Hitch was listed as threatened under the California Endangered Species Act in 2014. In 2022, there was a local call for action in response to the denial federal Endangered Species Act listing of the Clear Lake Hitch. In combination with low observations during the spawning season. So in February 2023, your board declared a proclamation of the existence of a local emergency due to persistent drought, habitat loss, and potential extension of Clear Lake Hitch. Since then, collaborative effort have occurred among many local, state, tribal, and federal agencies. And spring 2023, Lake County Water Resources Department and Watershed Protection District implemented a community science spawner observation program to monitor the Clear Lake Hitch, for which our volunteers are the centerpiece for that program. And we thank our dedicated community science volunteer to participate in this program. And we look forward to continuing this program in future efforts, and for your support and for the protection and recovery of Clear Lake Hitch. We really appreciate all the volunteers and their effort in making this program a success. So I will next we will have a presentation which would be presented by Chris, and then we will have a brief Q&A session, like if anybody has any questions. And then we will have an appreciation for our volunteers, and we will be giving out the Hitch hat. And for the volunteers who are not present here today, for them the hat would be available at our Water Resources front desk. Okay.
Chair Crandall, board, I'm going to be presenting today on Community Science Hitch Spawner Observation Survey, Summary and Outcomes. I want to second what Pawan said. None of this would be possible without the amazing volunteers. So thank you so much. So we'll just start it off. What is community science? It's a form of research that provides everyone, regardless of their background, an opportunity to contribute meaningful data to further our scientific understanding of key issues. In very simple terms, it's public participation in scientific research. So the purpose and the goals of this program, they're listed here. So basically to monitor relative population trends over time, to help with long-term conservation, and management decisions. So monitoring is beneficial for presence and absence of before and after creek restoration projects and barrier removal efforts. Another purpose of this is community involvement, education, outreach, and engagement. It's great when the community can get together to look at these fish, observe these fish, and also be educated, because the more people that are educated about these fish, the more concerned and aware people are. Another goal here is to understand what extent hitch occupy creeks, what creeks are occupied, and how far upstream they migrate to spawn. So when do hitch enter specific creeks, and how far up the creeks do they go? The picture on the right here is Forbes Creek, right by the baseball field. So the survey design. So all of our volunteers are required to attend training once a year. And so this training consists of in-person and field components. All the sites, the 33 sites, they're pre-selected for repeatability. So we can do this every year on the same site. These locations were monitored once a week for 10 weeks, starting on March 9th, 2025. And most of them were at bridge crossings other than a couple of the private property sites. So private property owners are available, or they can adopt the community scientists adopt a pre-selected public site each year. The private property owners, they can sponsor a site, but we ask for 5 to 10 years. That way we can look at this data and compare it over the years. So 1 year of data, it's good, but if you have multiple years, then you can actually kind of like draw some conclusions. So survey validation. So with this survey, if the conditions are not ideal, then the survey is not conducted, and a reason would be listed. For example, dry, turbid, algal bloom, floating vegetation. So water visibility, also known as turbidity, it reduces the ability to positively ID fish species. So you can see the pictures here on the right. Like in those scenarios, you would not conduct an observation. Fish ID confidence. Also, this is one of the things that's in our survey is how confident are you with IDing these fish? So our volunteers can say they're very confident or they're not confident at all. And so that helps us kind of like validate the data that we are getting. And then also this data is randomly selected for QA/QC. So we double checked a few of these entries in the field just to make sure they were accurate. So here's a map of Lake County, Clear Lake, and as you can see on the right here are all 33 of our sites with the GPS coordinates. They're located all over the lake. So we have Bachelor Valley, Upper Lake, Lucerne, Clear Lake Oaks, Lower Lake, Big Valley, and Lakeport, and also Scotts Valley. So this is a very broad survey, and it's encompassing many of the creeks that drain into Clear Lake. So these are preliminary results for our for the data that was collected. Now the data set on the right excludes records where hitch were not detected. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a couple detections. I think there's 3 of 1,000 fish on Adobe Creek. One was private property, and the other 2 were at Big Valley Road. So this year, Adobe Creek had the most detections of fish. Now, that's not to say that any of these other creeks didn't have more fish than Adobe Creek. This is just simply those fish were present at the site at the time of the survey. You can see Alley Creek had 9 fish, Clover 99, Forbes 16, Kelsey 25, Manning 52, Siegler 1, and Thompson Creek 50. And also these, the Adobe Creek 1,000 fish sites, those were double checked by Taylor and myself because that's a lot of fish to report. And we went out and validated that it was definitely accurate. So here's a heat map of basically all the sites that fish were observed this year. So as you can see, like Upper Lake and Big Valley had, and Forbes Creek and Lakeport had the most observations. There was one fish observed in Siegler Canyon as well, but it's covered up by one of those black dots on the bottom right. So for anybody listening or who wants to be involved or get involved in the future, yearly training is mandatory. And basically it's instruction on fish identification, as I mentioned before, in person and in field training. So Taylor and I would conduct that. And if you would like to sign up for the 2026 observations, feel free to contact either myself or Taylor or Water Resources Department, and we'd love to get you on that list. The observers that have already participated in the 2025 data collection are going to get first priority for the 2026 survey. Okay, at this point, we will take questions and comments, and then we will thank the wonderful volunteers.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Pawan. Thank you, Taylor. Supervisor Sabatier?
Thank you for the report. I'll have to sign up in February, give you more than mole's worth. I am wondering the number compared to the years past, what was that, or does it really just depend how many volunteers you have and how many people are out there, but just kind of a comparison?
So this is actually the very first year this survey has
Before it wasn't citizen science, it was just others from the department that were looking at it and others from the tribes that were looking at it rather than doing the citizen science. Gotcha.
Yeah, the district has 2 years of internal data collection. But this community science and the district program has 14 sites, and with the 2 years of data collection, the community science has 33 sites, and this is the very first year. And the purpose of this is to compare the data over the years to come to conclusions.
Hence the question, but too early. Do you know at what point, and just kind of moving forward from that, at what point, because we've been getting like fish tests from the lake to give us numbers. Do you know when we'll get that from, I don't know if it's USGS or if it's CDFA, Fish and Wildlife. Do you know when they'll be redoing a number of fish that they catch and they attribute that to the potential population of hitch that is in the lake?
So I believe you're talking about the USGS study, the gillnet study, which went, that's done every June. And so that was done this year. Not sure if the preliminary data is out on that yet or not. So,
because it'd be interesting just to see their numbers first off, just to see the trend. Are we doing better? Are we doing worse? And then to also compare the citizen science numbers to their numbers and kind of get an idea of what the citizen science numbers mean in comparison.
Sure, yeah, and all these reports are posted on our website. So anytime we get a USGS report or CDFW or anything like that, it's all on the website.
Thank you. Like the hats, by the way.
And I think the district survey is also running in parallel. So even we have this community science one, so we do on parallel the district survey as well.
That's perfect.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, I appreciate all the work that went into this program and opening it up for the community to give that opportunity for folks to be involved and learn more. And of course, this is just one aspect of all of the hitch work that's going on. So I think, it's definitely an asset to adding to all that other data that we have to continue to work on this in the future. Thank you.
Was there a Coal Creek site?
Yes.
Yes, there are.
Okay.
There's two, one on Clark Drive and one on Siler.
They just didn't have a lot of results, or
So,
the timing?
well, Coal Creek is very turbid, and so it's harder to see fish in there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there were fish in Coal Creek this year.
Well, we saw them. Yeah.
It's also the timing of the timing of the observation. So it's just once a week, and you show up. If you don't see any fish, that's it.
Right.
If you see fish, you're gonna be there for a while counting them.
Okay.
All right, so I'll open it up for public comment. Come on up.
Good afternoon. Again, great work. I have a couple questions. Highland Springs Reservoir, I understand there's a population of hitch inside the reservoir. A couple questions on that. Has there been any evidence of migration up Highland Creek? If so, how far? combined with that is, I know there's an intention to raise the level of the reservoir, and how will that benefit the Hitch? And then as far as things like turbidity and other limiting factors, to get a good understanding of population, has there been a consideration of doing DNA testing of the water for the presence of Hitch? I know, for example, in the Midwest where they have invasive carp, they use DNA testing to see if there's a presence for that species, to see if there's actually how far they go up. So anyways, those are my questions. Thank you.
So to address your first question, the district survey for the past 2 years does have one site upstream of Highland Reservoir, and so we do have data collection there. Taylor could probably elaborate on what has been seen there, but I don't believe any Hitch have been observed there. However, we have seen roach and Sacramento sucker juvenile. Your second question about raising the dam and how that would affect.
Yeah, we could probably cover that offline, because we're talking about the observation and the livelihood of the fish. We could look at that.
Let's have this conversation about the DNA also, because that's actually really neat.
All right, come on up.
Now it's good afternoon, you all. Michelle Scully, I'm a member of your Fish and Wildlife Advisory Committee, and I used to work for you all. I want to thank the Fish and Wildlife Committee. This was a topic of discussion when we were all wrangling around about what to do with Hitch numbers, and people saying, well, I saw this and I saw that, and that's always the case in anecdotal reporting. And Clear Lake Environmental Research Center had an app where people could go and make observations, and yet when that was brought forward, there was concern saying, well, how is that information vetted? Because it's basically like you're making a fruit salad and just throwing things together. So it was not apples to apples. So in our Fish and Wildlife Committee, we had this discussion, and I'd like to thank Angela De Palma Dow, who was with Water Resources at the time, for really taking that forward. And I know that she brought it to your department, and Taylor was really active on that, and Chris. And like before we knew it, at our next meeting, we had like a beta test of it where we had the app and we could go through it. And I was like, when does stuff like this ever happen so quickly? And it was really, really cool. So I feel like my brain is a Venn diagram about this, because I wanted to make sure that Angela and Chris and Taylor and everyone who made this happen are thanked properly. I wanted to thank the Fish and Wildlife Committee for being an active voice in that. And also in terms of Supervisor Sabatier's comment in the earlier item about collaboration, we don't see that very often, and when we do, it tends to be intermittent and sporadic. But speaking as a person who's taught science from third grade up to community college, I am always astounded when I see the lack of scientific background in our students. And I believe, especially in an environment, I'm sorry, I'm like severely dehydrated because I've been here a long time. Anyway, severely depleted in critical thought in our community and world today. And when I was teaching science at Mendocino College, I was teaching biology. I said, if you leave here with nothing else but the ability to vet information critically, because one day something really important is going to happen to you, and you're going to need to know that you're able to go out there and figure it out without being propagandized or swayed by misinformation. So that's always been a passion of mine. So for these guys to do this and you guys to support it, opening it up as a community model, I think is huge. And in terms of our kids in STEM in the future, I think it would be really cool if this model gets going and we could use it for other things. Ages ago, I was asked to create and teach the ecology of Clear Lake at Mendocino College with no resources. So I interfaced with existing resources, and to see the people's faces when they actually had hands-on and how that information goes into your head is huge. And I'm super sorry I went over, but there's a lot of stuff here. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle. My name is Angela DePalma-Dow. I'm a current executive director of Lake County Land Trust. Our president of our board, Val Nixon, had a site. She did Kelsey Creek. And then we also had a site on our Quantipo wetland property here in Lakeport. So we were volunteers. We did the trainings. They were very well done, very exciting. It's a fun time. So good job, Taylor and Chris, for doing that. And then I just wanted to say that the Water Resources Department and the district presented to the Water Board, the State Water Regional Board, in December in Rancho Cordova. I was there with Taylor, and we did our presentation. Everybody did their presentations. One of the things the board members asked about was this program, and they were excited. They're like, "You guys are doing a Hitch observation community science program? That's exciting. Tell us more about that. When are we going to get that going?" So I just want to put on the radar, there's been a lot of talk about, community involvement, education. That's great, but just know the state is looking at this, and there's been a lot of stuff from the state down, interest in droughts and water levels, Clear Lake Hitch as a listed species on the pathway for federal listing at some point. But that this program is going to be looked at as a model, and as much as whatever you could do to support it, make it strong, give it resources, and use this program, the data it's developing, the way that you're teaching it, the way that it could be involved in collaboration and education, use that to be more resourceful and get resources funneled to the county and funneled to the department and funneled into the community for that. So, and you'll have support from the state because they're really excited, interested about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, Julia Carrera, Worth Chair Lead for the Levy Subcommittee. Thank you to Chris, Taylor, Pawan, the department, and Angela for bringing a citizen science program forward for Lake County, and thank you to the Board of Supervisors for supporting a citizen science program. I think it's the key to the future of Lake County, particularly our lake, and the more we can promote citizen science in Lake County, the better. And we'd also like to thank you for getting excavation going on the gravel in the Upper Lake levee system this week. Yay! Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has a comment about this? All right. We have someone coming, two people coming up.
Good afternoon, Board. Margot Kambara. I want to thank everybody in Water Resources and Angela DePalma-Dow, formerly of Water Resources, for their excellent work in bringing citizen science to Lake County. Thank you so much. And as Michelle Scully stated, we have great opportunity here to expand this concept, this learning model, to other sectors of education. So we have great critical thinkers within our community. So thank you. I'm sorely disappointed that I missed training this year, and I'm looking forward to signing up for 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
How you guys doing today? It's Marshall Anderson, community member. I first want to acknowledge the Hitch itself for surviving through all the environmental changes and life changes they've had to experience, and they're still here. And all the droughts, but I also want to really acknowledge the tribes, because without the tribes spearheading this and using it as a food source, but also spearheaded in the early 2000s, the programs like this wouldn't be. So I really am thankful for the program. I think creating awareness on a greater whole, especially with our greater community, our younger generations, will create greater awareness in whole for native species in our lake. So I think that's great. I just want to make sure the tribes are still really spearheading it. I'm not part. Maybe this next year I'll be a part of the program, but I wasn't. But I was an observer, and so when I first seen the Hitch this year, I went down every single day with my kids after school, and so and what I seen was I would see high populations behind like Tribal Health or Cold Creek, and then the next day I would see low numbers. And then next day I would either probably see low numbers or high numbers. It was diverse. So I think, the numbers are really good, but they could probably either be higher, depending on if people went more than once a week, so thanks.
Thank you, Tomasz. Thank you for staying on task as well. Come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Nazba Ben. I work with Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians, but I also have children and my husband are enrolled members there. I'm a member of the Navajo Nation and have lived here for about 14 years now. I'm also a trained environmental scientist, focusing on environmental planning. My work has always been in validating traditional ecological knowledge and Native American sciences in traditional and Western science points of view. And this is the first project where I genuinely feel that the work that the tribes have been doing for centuries is getting a place in county work and being validated through the county. And Jessica Paiska, thank you for saying that they're there. They're there because you've seen them. That's our fight. That's our struggle. We know the fish are there. We've seen them. And I always tell these guys that since my kids have been born, I've worked with them on saving hitches and ditches. We go out in the spring, we find them, we throw them back in the lake. Not ideal, but don't record me. Not ideal, but it's the survival instinct for the people that have lived here and have thrived and continue to survive on their natural resources. So I just wanted to put that out there and also state that this year I was a community scientist, but I've always been Native. I've always been looking out for these little creatures, even though I don't know what they are. They're slimy, they're gross. I still don't understand them. But that I've been looking at these fish for 15 years. And this year, being a community scientist, I did not see a single one in my designated spot. So they're there. We know they're there. We've seen them throughout our lives. And just thank you for giving the living example of validating what we know as Native people, that they are there, they are valid. And that's all I want to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nazba. Any other comments? All right, with that, on Zoom, we'll bring it to Zoom. All right, Donna, go ahead and unmute.
Hello, Donna Makowitz from Clear Lake Oaks. I was proud to be the Schindler Creek monitor. I appreciate all the hard work that brought this project forward. Thanks especially to Chris, Angela, and to Taylor, whose enthusiasm for Hitch is really infectious. So thank you, and I'm so happy this is going to continue. Good job.
Oh, thank you, Donna. All right, no more hands in Zoom. We'll close that portion of it. Supervisor Paiska, if you wanted.
Well, I want to thank everyone that came today to give comment and everyone that is participating in this program. I love the hats. I hope I can get one day. But I just want to also remind everyone that when we declared the Hitch emergency, we funded 2 positions with Water Resources so that we could actually do the work within the department, with the county, so that we could really have skin in the game, do our part, and collaborate. And this is the work that has resulted from these 2 general funded positions. So I just want to remind everyone that we did that so that we could get here. Because it does take money, it does take attention, it does take resources and commitment, and that is the commitment that we've been working towards. And so I'm really delighted to see the success of this program and that it is getting noticed at the state, because it is important, and this was our commitment. So I'm really, really grateful to see that it's been successful and will continue to be successful.
All right, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and close this portion of the agenda. And we'll thank you again for this presentation. Thank you, everyone who came to talk about the Hitch. Yeah, we all want a hat.
Want a hat?
We bring them up.
I hope Taylor was up.
Butterflies, though.
I'm always wearing a hat, so I needed an excuse to look nice.
All right.